Muli, magandang hapon Pilipinas, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Ako pa rin po inyong kasama, Eli Saludar. Secretary.
Ito po, magandang hapon. Iparas kay Paras. Ito yung programa para sa ating buong sambayanan. Ito po ang inyong kasama, former Secretary Gibo Paras.
At Ado Paglinawan po, nagpupugay ng isang magandang araw sa inyong lahat.
Alam mo, Eli, napaka mainit na issue ngayon itong tinatawag nilang West Philippine Sea. Pero kung tausin mo talaga, there's no such thing as West Philippine Sea. There's only South Philippine Sea.
South China Sea.
South China Sea. Walang West Philippine Sea. But anyway, since nandyan na yan, pinagsasabi nila, mukhang little by little, itong Marcos administration, they are bringing the Filipino people closer to destruction. Dinadala nila ang taong bayan sa gera. Dahil sa pagka-war freak nila, pagka-warmonger, ay kung ano-ano nang sinusot-sot ng Amerika through the back door, nagtatapang-tapangan tayo ngayon, knowing pwede namang diplomacy. I mean, why should we create war when there are other means of pacifying China? At yan po, ito po ang pinupuna natin ngayon. Tingnan mo itong pangulo, naghahanap ng gera, pinapahanda na daw, kinukondisyon ang mga sundalo na makipaggera na tayo sa China. Tingnan mo ito.
Our armed forces must be capable of securing and defending the archipelago from emerging threats. You must not only anticipate, but you must also be ready to adapt and respond to emerging national security and defense realities that exist in our country and in our region.
Maghahanda na daw tayo para
Idepensa.
sa gera. Tingnan mo itong speech niya nung galing siya ng China. Nung dumadating siya na in-entertain siya na gusto ni Xi Jinping. Ito.
Premier Li Keqiang and National People's Congress Chairman Li Zhansu. And I've noticed over the years that it is very, very evident to me that I have seen the considerable progress in terms of economic development from the China that I experienced in my earliest visits and the economic powerhouse that it is today. I recognize how China's development has positively impacted our relationship with our Chinese friends, especially considering that the Philippines' ties with China as a close neighbor and important bilateral partner. During our meeting, President Xi and I had a comprehensive discussion on the overall state of bilateral relations between the Philippines and China. Our conversation covered important facets of our relations, particularly agriculture, energy, infrastructure, trade and investment, science and technology, and of course, people-to-people ties. We renewed our commitment to strengthen bilateral cooperation as close neighbors in the Asia-Pacific region. The visit offered us an opportunity to exchange views on important issues that affect regional and global peace, stability, and development. As we embark on a new chapter of our bilateral ties, President Xi and I shared the commitment to do everything possible to ensure that the Philippines and China will continue the positive trajectory of our relations, which has been elevated to that of a comprehensive strategic cooperation since 2018.
Ado, quote mo nga yung sinasabi niya.
That since 2018, nagkaroon ng comprehensive cooperation ang Pilipinas at China. At economic powerhouse sa sarili niyang mga labi ng galing. No? At further on dyan sa speech na yan, nilagay pa niya yung mga detalya, yung mga different fields, but hindi na natin pag-uusapan siguro ngayon yun.
So what he was saying is that the relationship between the two countries has strengthened. They have agreed that they will maintain bilateral commitment. In other words, dapat parati tayong mayroong dialogue, mayroong commitment na ayusin natin ang conflict natin through dialogue. Pero dito sa pinakita ko kanina, iulit na natin. Yung una.
We must be ready. Our armed forces must be capable of securing and defending the archipelago from emerging threats. You must not only anticipate, but you must also be ready to adapt and respond to emerging national security and defense realities that exist in our country and in our region.
Nire-ready daw niya yung armed forces for the emerging threat. Ano bang threat? Banggaan lang ng barko, magigera na tayo? Pinapaghanda mo na yung armed forces? Kaya tuloy naging warmonger yung ating Secretary of National Defense. Pati yung minor na empleyado dyan sa Coast Guard. Kung ano-anong pinagdadaldal, accusing other Filipinos who want to maintain peace with China as traitor. Tanga-tanga nitong ulul na to. Anyway, mga kababayan, time and time again, even during the time of President Duterte, we have always maintained good ties with China. And following the statement of Marcos, we are a friend of everyone and an enemy to none. Yan ang foreign policy na binitawan niya nung pagbalik lang niya sa China. And he was even very proud to say that napakaraming investment pledges ang China. I mean, before him, panahon ni Duterte, mayroon tayong kaliwa daw, mayroon tayong kung ano-anong mga ng China, mga investments dito sa Pilipinas.
At saka pinangako niya yan sa electorate nung tumatakbo siya, yung continuity ng programa ni President Duterte, yung continuity ng vision ng kanyang ama, no?
Tingnan mo itong mga pronouncement dati ng ating pangulo. He is very pragmatic, he is very realistic. Ito po yung binitawan na salita ni Pangulong Duterte. Hindi tayo talaga pwede makapaggera. Wala tayong kakayahan. Ito po, pakinggan po natin si President Duterte.
Gusto ninyong girahin natin? Sino bang gustong na ano? Kasi payag ako. I can declare war on China tonight. But sino ang magpunta? Sundalo ko? Pulis ko? Mamatay lang lahat yan. Sabi nung, why will I go to war or a battle that I cannot win? Para akong so, sino yung mga gustong pumunta doon ngayon? Okay man ako. We will declare war against China. Provided yung mga ugok, yung maingay, mauna sila. Nandyan ako sa likod nila. Pagdating doon, iwanan ko sila. Bahala kayo. Kayo gusto magipag-away.
So, marami na yung mga ugok. Itong numerong ugok, number 1 warmonger, itong Tariela, ang number 2 ugok, itong naglagay-lagay pa ng poster. Rejected by the Filipino people as a candidate for president, rejected as candidate for the senator. Ngayon, gagamitin na naman pera ng taong bayan para as early as now, for the 2025 election, nilalagay na naman niya yung poster niya.
Billboard muna.
Hinihikayat niya ang Pilipino na mag-hate sa mga Chinese. Ginagawa niya ng istorya ang mga Pilipino na creeping daw ang China. Siyempre, ang daming China. Kung creeping man, andyan. Si Henry C. Jr. Andyan si Tan.
Si Lance Gokue.
Lucio Tan, si Lance Gokue. Yun ang mga creeping Pilipino, Mr. Gibo. Kung mayroong creeping Pilipino, you're talking of the rich business people of China na marami pang mga kamag-anak yan sa China. Pero andito namumuhay, dito nagpapayaman sa sarili na. If you're talking to them, or you're talking about them, na nagki-creep, they are. At saka yung mga pogo, yung mga creeping na pinagsasabi mo. Pakita natin itong warmonger na Gibo Chidoro na ito. Tingnan mo yung poster niya kung anong pinagsasabi nito. Naghahanap ng gera sa China. I don't know for his whatever political ends you are, magkaibigan ko ito, si Gibo Chidoro. I supported him in 2016. I think. 2016 or 2010. 2010 when he ran for president. Kaso maraming complaint Tinago yata niya yung sobrang pera na pinagbibigay ni GMA, hindi na niya ginastos.
1 billion.
1 billion ang binigay, 300 million daw yata nawala. According to my friends in Lakas in UCD. Di umano. But that's neither here nor there. That's nothing to do with this. Pero ngayon, maglagay ka ng poster
Billboard.
or billboard na makapakalaki, gastusin mo yung pera ng bayan natin kasi para lang sabihin mo sa mga Pilipino na matatakot tayo dahil nandyan na in China. It's neither here nor there. Walang logic na dinadala mo. What do you think of that, Ado?
Well,
Ipakita mo na natin yung poster.
Poster. Tingnan mo na natin yung poster.
No. Ayan, If we don't stop them, China is going to creep into what is within our sovereign jurisdiction, our sovereign rights, and within our territory. Ikaw, Ado, ikaw ang expert dyan sa China. What is this guy talking about?
Yan ang kanya nagiging mantra. Kaya nga ako'y nagdududa kung ito ay abogado. Very clearly naman, sa Treaty of Paris, yung treaty limits natin, yung kwadradong nakagano'n, hindi naman kasama yung South China Sea.
Hindi, pero siyempre tayo, bilang Pilipino, ang puso natin ay para sa Pilipino. Pero, hindi rin natin iniisip, ang puso ng China, para sa China din. So, pero what are we talking about here? It's the exclusive economic zone. We don't have sovereignty over that as defined by the UNCLOS. We only have sovereignty over our 12 nautical miles from our shore.
Correct.
So there is a difference, Mr. Gibo, between sovereignty and sovereign rights.
To give
Now,
you a clear and factual na.
So, kung maging warmonger ka, tinutulak mo yung ating bansa, ating mga kababayan, na dalhin mo sa gera, please naman. Kami po ay hindi sasama dyan. Sinabi na ni President Duterte, hindi niya kayang dalhin ang Pilipino sa gera. Now, kung gusto mong sumugod, kasama mo yung bata-bata mong si Cariela, sumugod kayong dalawa. Pero wag niyong dalhin ang mga mabubuting tao sa Pilipinas
Lalo na sundalo.
sa pagka-warmonger nyo against China. Kasi sinabi na ni McCoy Jr., ano sinabi ni McCoy when he returned from China? A continuous bilateral agreement, a continuous dialogue between China. Bakit nagbago, mga kababayan? Bakit nagbago? Is it something to do with the 61 billion question? Anong sinasabi ngayon, mga kababayan? Tapos, itong Gibo nito, naglalagay ng poster. Hindi daw siya nagbayad, Chinese friend daw. Magkano bang negosyo ng Chinese friend mo, Gibo, dyan sa DND? Marami bang sinusupply na mga armaments yan or mga tangkidigera, helicopter? Kasi he will go out of his way to pay hundreds of thousands of your poster, or your banner dyan sa EDSA. Walang incheck na magbabayad, incheck na negosyante na sinasabi mong kaibigan mo na magbabayad ng hundreds of thousands ng kanyang poster dyan, kung walang negosyo dyan sa DND. Ayun ang totoo. So, why don't you be transparent and reveal kung sino itong Chinese-Filipino friend mo at anong negosyo? Pareha lang yan doon sa kay Pritz Diaz na nagbigay ng Maserati ba yun? Chinese friend din daw. Wala kang kaibahan kay Pritz Diaz, Mr. Gibo Chidoro.
Panoorin na nga natin.
Panoorin natin yung billboard ni Mr. Gibo Chodoro.
I had nothing to do with those billboards. I gave that statement during a TV interview, and one of our supporters, who is Filipino Chinese, by the way, found it to be resonant and started posting it on electronic billboards that he owns. Out of a sense of civic duty, I presuppose, because I have had no conversations with him. But nevertheless, this is a country that prides itself and cherishes freedom of speech. And what I said was the truth. And if the truth hurts, so be it. I said it in an interview. It was flashed on a billboard without my doing. And if there be consequences, I'm ready to face them. But I just said the truth anyway. So that's that for me. Finito, and I do not owe any explanation to any foreign entity.
He will daw be responsible to any consequences.
Yan ang problema dito.
Ang yung truth niya doesn't matter. Pare, yung truth mo is not the truth of it's not the truth of many Filipinos who are afraid to die in a war that we will never be able to win, Mr. Gibo. Kung war free ka, or kung ginagamit mo yung Pilipino dahil gusto mong tumakbo uli ng senator na wala ka man doon sa survey, that's your own lookout. Pero don't use the Filipino people for your politically motivated moves.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Kanina narinig natin ang Pangulo talking about a reality.
Pangulong Duterte.
Hindi, Pangulong
Marcos.
Bongbong Marcos.
Oh, okay.
Ngayon naman, here comes the Secretary of National Defense talking about the truth. Nakikita ko lang naman, truth decay. Bakit? Nag-survey ang Pulse siya. Secretary, na itong issue na ito ng soberanya, kaagibat na yung paghahanda ng mga militar na yan, ay 7% lamang sa pananaw ng buong Pilipinas na urgent national concern. Ang 93% involves basically pinakamalaki inflation, economy. Pangalawa, yung corruption in government, at pangatlo, criminality. Yan po ang 93% ng truth sa Pilipino. According to a survey, a scientific exercise. So what is your truth?
Yung truth niya, yung truth
Yung
mo,
para sa'yo.
yung truth mo is for you to place your billboard there and make your Chinese friend to make amin na siya, pero ikaw naman talagang may pakulo niyan. Why? Because the truth is, gusto mo tumakbo uli ng pagkasenador. Yan ang totoo. Hindi ka naman mananalo that's for the people to decide. But whatever it is, huwag mo kaming idamay. Sasabihin mo, mga traidor yung nagsasabi ng huwag tayong makipaglaban. Why? Bakit tayo makipaglaban? Sinasabi ni President Duterte. Sige, dali ko yung mga sundalo ko doon. Isang rocket lang yan, ubos tayo. Ikaw ba? Kagaya ka ba nung bata mo doon sa investigation sa Senate na sabi, may kakayahan tayo. Are you like that? Well, go ahead kayo ni Tariela, sumugod na kayo dyan sa China. Pero who is Gibo, mga kababayan? Who is Gibo? Ito. Sino ba si Gibo? Gibo concedes presidential race.
Ayun, tumakbo yan ng 2010 election.
I will introduce you who is this guy, Gibo, na may truth daw siya.
The real Gibo Chodoro.
The real Gibo Chodoro, who is he?
Marami, no? Pero natural yung betrayal. Yun ang pinaka masakit, ano? Pero nangyayari yan. Ang importante, huwag ka magtatanim. You move on. And I'm very happy so far as the results are concerned, lakas, Kampi CMD still remains as of this time as the dominant majority party in terms of number of officials elected.
Ha? Betrayal daw. Sinong nag-betray? Mayroon bang nag-betray sa'yo o talagang kulelat ka talaga dahil walang may gustong bumoto sa'yo? Even your own uncle, Gibo. Ha? I mean, masakit para sa aming mga Pilipino na dadalhin mo sa gera. So I tell the Filipino people who you are. Ikaw mismo. Ha? Yung sarili mong uncle was so disappointed with you. In fact, yung asawa ni Danding, si Ginang Gretchen, who I respected so much, told me on one occasion, sabi niya, Jing, pag bumoto ka dyan sa Gibo na yan, if you campaign for that guy, don't treat me as your friend anymore. Traidor yan. Ayun sabi ni Gretchen sa akin. Nandiyan si Gretchen.
Mabigat yung ang sama ng loob, no?
Kaya nga yung si Danding, I think he died with his masamang loob dito sa Gibo na ito. Tapos ngayon, dadalhin mo kami. Dahil sa you want to bring the Filipino to the brink of war because of your warmonger attitude. Huwag pare, huwag ganon. Huwag tayong tutulad ng mga iba dyan na gusto makipagera. Kasasabi ni Marcos, pagbalik niya galing sa China, when he delivered a speech, we had a good relations with Xi Jinping. We will continue with our bilateral talks. Whatever there will be misunderstanding, we will settle it. Ilang bilyon ang ating mawawala kung gigirahin natin ang China. Let's face reality. The problem that Ado was saying, 90% of the survey, economic ang concern ng taong bayan, economic, 90%. Inflation, GDP, gross domestic product, import, export. Saan po tayo? Sinong number one trading partner natin? China. Bakit mo gigirahin? Bakit mo painitin ang taong bayan para gumera sa China? Di ba? Ikaw, El, ano matasabi mo?
So, yun nga ho kasi mga kababayan, talagang ang binabagit nga, susundan ko lang, no? Yung sinabi ni dating Pangulo, bakit kalalaban sa papasok ka sa isang gera na alam mo hindi ka mananalo? Di ba kahit sa anong laban, competition, papasok ka ba ron kung hindi ka mananalo? So, mag-aaksaya ka lang ng buhay ng mga
tapos
sundalo.
galit na galit siya, sinasabi daw, puppet tayo ng Amerika. Sinasabi daw ng China or sabi daw ng ibang Pilipino that we are puppet of America. Aren't we? Aren't we puppets of America? Tingnan mo si Marcos. Ang sarap-sarap ng sinabi niya tungkol sa China. We are a friend of everyone, we are an enemy to none. Pagbalik niya at pagpunta niya sa Amerika, anong nangyayari?
Ito, panoorin nga natin.
Anong nangyayari?
US President Joe Biden,
anong nangyayari? Pagbalik niya galing sa Amerika at pagpunta niya roon. Ito.
My official working visit to Washington, D.C. Over the past 4 days, I met with Joe Biden, the President, Vice President Kamala Harris, my counterpart in the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Secretary Tom Vilsack, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and several other cabinet officials who joined President Biden in our expanded bilateral meetings. Our discussions were very productive. We are of the same mind that our long-standing alliance and partnership must be adapted to address the challenges of our time in order to bring about lasting peace and sustainable prosperity to our countries and to our peoples. The joint statement we issued outlines the key initiatives that we will pursue across all areas of our bilateral engagement to achieve these objectives. I look forward to having our respective teams follow through on the many areas of cooperation that we have identified. This will help advance our key priorities with respect to agriculture and food security, and to promote energy security as we transition to clean energy and boost trade and build resilience of our supply chains, enhancing connectivity and digitalization, also of climate change, mitigation and adaptation.
Praise na praise siya. At dito sa kanilang pag-uusap ni Biden, siniser pa niya si Biden. Mukha siyang simoy ni Biden eh. Ay, nasaan ba yun? Tingnan natin yung asta ni Marcos in front of Biden. O, tingnan mo.
Called you so late to congratulate you, but it's a great victory, and and my best to your wife as well. The relationship between the United States and the Philippines, to state the obvious, has very deep roots. We've had some rocky times, but the fact is it's a critical relationship from our perspective. I hope you feel the same way. And we have strong ties, including millions of Filipino Americans who are very proud of their ancestry and desperately want us to continue to have a strong relationship. And our foundations are strong in the U.S.-Philippine alliance, which is of critical importance. For decades, the alliance has strengthened both of us, I believe, and one of the things I want to talk about today is how we continue to strengthen that and work together on the things that are of greatest concern to you. Today, I look forward to discussing the opportunities for a wide range of issues, including COVID-19 recovery, energy security, renewable energy. I was impressed with the work you did on windmills and a whole range of other things. You and I both think that's the future. We can do a lot. We can do a lot together. I'm desperately interested in making sure we do. In addition, I expect we'll discuss the South China Sea and disputes in critical global throughway. I've spent a lot of time with not only the President of China but others about the international waters and how they have to be respected. And we should talk about that a little bit, I hope. And also, thank you for your position on the war against Ukraine and by Russia and how it's impacting energy prices and food prices. And we're working very hard to be able.
So, tingnan mo mga kababayan, si Biden na yung nagbabanggit tungkol sa South China Sea. Ha? Oh. So, ang Amerika interesado sa South China Sea. It's the war of the United States against China. Wala tayo dapat nakasama. Pero, what happened after that? Pagbalik ni Marcos? Ha? Pagbalik ni Marcos, nagbago na ang lahat. Pinayagan ng EDCA. There was an issue between Taiwan and China. Nilagay lahat yung nilagay lahat yung bases diyan sa Northern Luzon at Palawan. Oh. Kita mo yan? And yet, prior to that, friendly sila ni Xi Jinping. Pagbalik niya sa Amerika, iba na ang ihip ng hangin. Is that the 61 billion question? Mga kababayan? Tingnan natin itong 61 billion question na ito.
So, ito na mga kaloys, may nadagdag. Ayan. Si Sen Salto o Travia. Okay, sabi niya dito, okay, inano daw, parang nagig-bargain itong si Bongbong Marcos para makuha nila yung 61 billion, okay, na pera, okay, estate ni Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr. So, yun yung kapalit, mga kaloys. Yun ba ang kapalit ng EDCA para makuha nila yung yaman nila, mga kaloys? At kung makuha man nila yung yaman nila, do you think para sa Pilipino? I don't think so, mga kaloys. Sa mga pinaggagawa nila ngayon, di ba? Hindi sila nabubusog sa kanilang pangangamkam. Kasi nga, money is power. So, syempre, kung mauungusan sa yaman itong mga richest people dyan sa Pilipinas, di ba? Tulad ng mga Ayala, di ba? Sino bang richest ngayon, mga kaloys? Yung may-ari ng SM, di ba? So, sila yung powerful. Right? And I don't think so na yung 61 million, if ever man totoo, 61 billion ay talagang ibibigay nila din sa tao, tutulungan nila ang tao. No, I don't think so.
Sabi ni Roy, yung isang vlogger na very popular, nabasa niya sa Asia Week. And hindi naman maglalabas yung Asia Week ng kung walang punot dulo. And there is really enough reason for the complete turnaround of Marcos' friendship with Xi Jinping and his newfound friend. Ano pang sinasabi ni Biden? Ito
Ito.
I want to be very clear. The United States defense commitment to the Philippines is ironclad. The United States defense agreement with the Philippines is ironclad. Any attack on the Filipino aircraft vessels or armed forces will invoke our mutual defense treaty with the Philippines.
Kalokohan yan. Sabi nga ni former President Marcos Sr.
Sabi ng tatay,
Sabi ng tatay, niloloko lang tayo ng mga Hindi agad-agad ang response. Mamamatay muna tayo bago makapag-response ang Pilipino. Ito, pakinggan mo yung sinasabi ni dating Pangulong Marcos Sr. Tungkol dyan sa Mutual Defense Treaty.
The United States is not necessarily bound to immediately react because the provision of the Mutual Defense Pact is that you will immediately take steps as is necessary to meet the contingency in accordance with your constitutional processes. What does that mean? That means that you go to the Senate and the House of Representatives. What does that mean? That means delay while we are dying there.
So yun ang matalino na Marcos, hindi itong gumagawa ng maraming kabulastugan ngayon sa ating bansa. Yung dati,
senior.
ano lang yun, kleptomania, pero matinik ang ulo. pero maganda ang mga sinasabi. Huwag tayo magpaloko sa mga Amerikano kasi mag-declare mag-gera man dyan ngayon between Taiwan and China or tayo ma-involve, bago mag-declare ng war ang United States para padala yung kanilang fleet, 7th Fleet, or yung kanilang mga submarine dyan, or mga exocet na mga rocket, sabi ni Marcos Sr., well, we are dying there. Patay na tayo.
Ubus na tayo
bago mag-approve pa, with the Congress of the United States now, cannot even decide to help Ukraine. They cannot even decide to help Israel na gabi ang gera ngayon with the Hamas.
Magkano lang in-approve ng US Congress ngayon?
Wala, pinopropose pa lang. Can you imagine, ang tagal na ng gera ng Israel at Hamas, magwa 1 month na, dami nang namamatay. Hanggang ngayon, nagtatalo pa sila kung sinong Speaker of the House ang i-elect. So, can you imagine kung gigirahin tayo ng China? Ilang bang buwan bago tayo mapadala ng depensa? Kaya nga, huwag tayong magyabang. Kasi kung ang ginayabang ni Gibo at ni Tariela at ni Marcos ay yung Mutual Defense Treaty, kaya masyado tayong nagmamatapang against China, baka mamaya, it will take 1 month to approve sa US Congress for them to declare war.
Ubus na.
Ubus
Pilipino.
Ubus na tayo nung tangke de guerra at saka mayroong bago ngayong very modernized submarine ng China. Isang putok lang tayo dyan. That's exactly what President Rodrigo Duterte is saying. Bakit ko ipapasubo ang aking mga pulis at mga sundalo? When, tama nga si Marcos Jr. Nung sinabi niyang, we have a good bilateral talks with Xi Jinping. So, yun ang sundin natin. Hindi itong mga pinagdadaldal nitong Gibo, ni Tariela, na gusto makipaggera. Kung maggera tayo, sila bang sasagot ng buhay ng mga mamamatay ng mga Pilipino kung bumbahin tayo ng China? Now, we are explaining. Tapos sasabihin, traidor yung mga Pilipino na nagsasabi na diplomatic channel lang tayo. Wag yung makipagbanggaan tayo ng ship dyan.
Ito sinasabi ni President Marcos Sr. has a bearing in history. Noong World War II, nandito pa mga Amerikano mismo sa loob ng Pilipinas, no? Dahil under Commonwealth pa tayo noon. At inabangan nila ang mga Hapon diyan sa Bataan ng Corridor. Ang ginawa ni Masauro Homa, naglanding sa Lingayen. At nakarating na ng Maynila si Masauro Homa na ipit ang USAF forces sa Bataan at Corridor. Yan ang sinasabi. Nandito sila. Anong ginawa? Anong ginawa ng mga Amerikano? Anong ginawa ni MacArthur? Sumakay sa San Marino, sinama pa ang presidente at vice-presidente natin at dinala sa Australia by submarine. Tumakas at inutusan si Wainwright na iniwan dito na isuko ang Pilipinas sa mga Hapon. Oh, my God. Robin Padilla knows more of this history than you, Gibo, Chodoro, and Marcos Jr.
Yes, that's why Senator Robin, during the Senate investigation, was very firm and was very, strong in his pronouncement na, bakit? May US Navy ba? May US Navy plane ba? Na sumusuporta? Kasi, allergic si Robin sa mga kasi iiwanan lang tayo sa pansitan yan mga kababayan. Kunyari, sige, pare, sugod kayo. Pero, bago pa pala papadala yung saklolo, magdi-deliberate pa doon sa US Congress. Oh my God! So, yun, may pusong Amerikano ito si Gibo, siguro, kaya panay ang galit na galit siya pag sinasabing puppet tayo sa Americans, which is, we are really now puppets of the Americans.
Kung nag-back about face si Bongbong Marcos, ito si Gibo nag-about face din. Kasi nung siya ay ma-appoint dyan, ang kanyang opening statement dyan was deconflicting the South China Sea. But now, he is not deconflicting. He is escalating the conflict, Congressman.
Yeah. Kaya nga, a very brilliant blogger by the name of Sasot, Rogando Sasot. Anong sinabi niya? If you have the right solution, then it should be not escalating. It should not be escalating. It should be friendly and diplomatic understanding of what it should be in that West Philippine Sea or South China Sea.
And this was already progressing. During the time of Duterte, there were 5 bilateral consultative mechanisms. And it has already resulted in 2 concrete programs of cooperation between China and the Philippines. Unang-una yung sa fisheries. Nakabalik ang mga fishermen natin sa Scarborough Shoal. No? At gagawa ng fisheries code. At tutulong pa ang China sa modernization ng fishing industries natin. Yun ang una. Pangalawa, yung oil and gas exploration project. Nagspirmahan pa tayo memorandum of understanding. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang nagkaroon ng pagbaba ng tensyon, kundi umuusad na yung bilateral negotiation. The way of peace towards development. Nagpalit lang ng Pangulo, bumalik ang Pangulo.
At saka, Mr. Gibo, Mr. Tariela, I can relate to you a story. Way back during the time of Macapagal Arroyo, na doable yung diplomatic relationship with China. We don't need to bump their ship or their ship bumping us if we will have a proper understanding. I'm talking about the time when there was this joint maritime seismic undertaking between China, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Bakit nagkasundo to explore South China Sea? Bakit nagkasundo? Kaya lang, maraming mga bright boys dyan na mga traidor na mga senador na kini-question yun. This is all how it started, Ado. May mga certain, I could not recall who that senator, because at that time, I was the chairman of the PNOCEC. Kami po ang nagre-represent dito sa GMSU. Ang GMSU, although it's a private undertaking, but supported by the government of China, of Vietnam, and the Philippines. It is supposed to explore and find out if there are possible oil within that area. That is the area of conflict between the three. So nagkasundo sila na, sige, wag na muna tayo magbanggaan ng ships or mag-ano. Gagawa tayo ng magandang gawain. Ha? Tapos, ito, hindi ko maalala kung sino yung stupido na senador na kini-question niya na bakit tayo usap-usap dyan? Hindi tayo dapat pumayag sa China na magkipag-usap at yan. Kasi we have sovereignty over those places. That's all it started. That's why GMA was forced to scrap the GMSU. But that was supposed to be a good sign already for us to have understanding, a diplomatic relationship.
Breakthrough.
So if that is possible then, it can be possible now. So why do we have to be bringing these warmongers into our midst? And magpa-poster pa, creeping. Kung creeping pa, Gibo, Chidoro, si Andrew Tan, si Tangkat Chong, di matagal ng creeping yan. Kasi, don't tell me na ang loyalty niyan, pagka nagkagera, ang mga tatay niyan, mga lolo niyan, ay nasa China pa. Don't tell me. Ang dami dyan sa Binondo. Meron kong kaibigan, nagninegosyo siya dito, Filipino citizen, pero Chinese descent. Ang lolo niya, kapatid ng tatay niya, nandoon sa Xiamen lahat. You think, anong loyalty kaya niyan? Yung mga Chekwa na yan. Ano kaya mga loyalty niyan? So, if you're talking of creeping, matagal na. Panahon pa ng Espanyol, the Chinese have already been creeping. But by that creeping, naunahan pa sila ng Hapon to conquer our country. The Chinese will never conquer because they are just here to do business. Kaya nga sila na ngayon ang may control ng ekonomiya ng ating Pilipinas. Mga Chinese.
And,
who is the most rich Chinese here? The Xi family. The Jollibee. The Megawide. The Mega World. Yan ang mga yan. So, are they creeping? No, they're not creeping. They're now standing and doing business to our country. Doing business in our country. So, kalukuhan yung mga boss creeping mo, Gibo. That's only for the purpose of political maneuver para tumakbo ka uli na senador. Period.
Okay.
Di ba, Ado? Eric, anong tingin nyo?
Balik tayo because dito sa 61 billion.
Okay.
Dahil ito lang ang una kong narinig. No? Na nag-explain sa akin na capable talaga na ma-motivate si Bongbong Marcos na tumanggap
ng deal kay Biden.
Bumaliktad.
360 degrees. From his very nice pronouncements na isave tayo from any war between Taiwan and China will be our friend, nagbaliktad. Okay, pakita natin yung Twitter Asia Times, 61 billion. Yan Ayan, basahin nyo yan kung bakit salita ang Asia Times. Basahin mo.
Asia Week.
Asia Week.
In the latest edition of Asia Week, Chinese version, the magazine draws from many inside sources. The reason why Marcos Jr. made a 180 degree in Philippine foreign policy
And turn against China.
Turn against China. PBBM made a Faustian bargain with the Americans to reclaim $61 billion of Marcos Sr.
Ferdinand Edralin Marcos Estate.
Ayan. Alam mo ba kung ano yung Faustian?
Ayan, mula yan kay...
Mula kay Sensalto Otrabia.
Hindi, alam mo ba ibig sabihin ng Faustian?
Ano ba yan? Ibig sabihin?
Faustus.
A deal with the devil because Faustus sold his
soul to the devil.
Exchange for
Faustus, di ba? Ano yan? That's Paul.
That's Shakespearean
story.
Character.
Grabe.
Faustus.
So, Marcos,
Hindi ho amin yan, ha?
hindi. Ang tawag ngayon natin dyan, hindi na kuting. Marcos Paustos. Marcos Paustos, why don't you reveal to the Filipino people bakit ka bumaliktad sa magandang relasyon sa China? At ngayon, papagirahin mo na yung mga Pilipino against China. Bakit hindi mo i-reveal yung 61 billion deal nyo ni Biden?
Ano yan?
Dollars,
Di umano. Ha?
Pero ang laki niyan, ha?
Sinasabi pa ni Kaloy Roy at ni Sas Rogando, kawawa si Imelda, walang alam. Si Aimee, walang alam dito sa deal na yon. Ang nakikialam yata dyan, ang matindi daw magkipag-deal dyan, yung Mrs.
Si Lisa Raneta. Oo.
Yun ang brain daw dyan sa deal na yan.
At ako hindi ko...
Di umano, ha? Di umano.
Hindi ko rin maintindihan yung maharlika. Investment fund eh. Saan huhugot? Kasi usually, yung mga ganyang fondo ay surplus funds. Baka ito na yung surplus funds.
Baka kaya sila nagmamadali. Kaya nagmamadali dahil dyan para mawash. Mahugasan.
Kasi may
mayroon na lang nag-invest ng 61 billion dyan sa Marlica Fund. Coming from upfront.
Pero, Secretary Jing, ano ba kung sakali yan, $61 billion, pag pumasok na investment, yung proceeds yan, hindi na pwedeng sakop ng AMLAC yan, no?
Hindi na.
Malinis na, nalaban na.
In-invest
Nalaban na.
Nalaban na. So, yun ang dyan.
Yan ang mga pwedeng magiging
yun ang technique ng
perception.
61 na yan. 3 trillion yan.
$61 billion dollars times.
Kalahati ng budget ng buong Pilipinas.
Yan din ba, ito ang tanong ko, yan din ba ang rason kung bakit kinakansila ninyo ang defense contract sa Russia ng helicopter at kinakansila nyo ang deal with China sa North Trail at sumusunod na ang Bicol Railways at susunod na ang Mindanao Railways. Bakit? Dahil pagdating ng perang yan, i-rebid nyo at kayong makikinabang? Aba, bakit ganon? Walang konfirmasyon, by the way. Humihingi pa kami ngayon, hanggang ngayon.
Kaya mga kababayan,
sa Chinese Embassy.
nananawagan si Presidente Duterte sa mga sundalo, sa mga pulis, sa mga farmers. Lalo na, hindi lamang sa mga pinaggagasta ni Marcos na hindi transparent, 4.5 billion. Ha? Pati na yan, mga deals ni Gibo. Mga sundalo. Tingnan nyo yung defense secretary niyo dyan. Huwag kayong magpadala dyan. Magkano yung involved dyan sa mga poster na yan? Sino ngayon yung alam ko yung building na yan, may-ari dyan si Delphin Lee. Di ba? Ilalaman nyo ba yung Delphin Lee, yung nakulong? Na involved doon sa mga housing. I think he owns that building na may mga billboards dyan na electronic. Baka si Delphin Lee ang nagbigay kay Gibo. And what is the business of Delphin Lee? Is he involved in housing the soldiers?
Maraming gusto i-restructure with new money.
Kasi inamin mo boy. Boy Gibo, inamin mo na in-check ang nagbayad. Di ba graft and corruption yan, pare? Di ba? You know, you cannot, that's in the form of a gift. Supposed to be. You should not allow any gift from any,
Because you're benefiting.
because you're
personally.
benefiting eh. Gusto mong tumakbo eh. Nakabulat-lat yung mukha mo. Oh, you are benefiting from that. And that is under 6713, Republic Act 6713. And that's a very bad president, Mr. Gibo.
Okay.
Okay.
Wala tayong oras. Salamat po sa inyo.